That's okay. I'll do it again. So, guys, round two on the intro. We had a little difficulty here, so hopefully I'm able to do it justice. We want to welcome you guys back to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. Jam-packed weekend. We had our first show with Whatnot for the NFL week 2 preview. We have the collectible show. And today we do have some announcements, but I want to save them till the end of the show, just in respect for your guys' time.
And you want to just talk about all NFTs all day, just a whole
all NFTs. No, we'll keep those announcements till the end because we're the kind of content creators, and I think others are as well, but we really pride ourselves on listening to what you guys say, how you respond and react to some of the things that we're doing. And we got feedback from you guys this weekend, and I'll share it with you towards the end of the episode and kind of how we're organizationally going to do things. But first, this is a sports card show. We talk sports, we talk about performance, and we talk about cards and how it's going to impact their prices. So I wanted to start off with baseball, Cage. And I actually had an interesting post. So we'll talk NFL, crazy week in the NFL. Capping NFL games is nearly impossible. It's one of those things where you can be right and, go so wrong. So we'll talk about that, but baseball is your thing. I mean, you've had incredible predictions from the beginning of the year. With Ohtani, you said he won't hit 15 more home runs. He's only hit 11.
Called the Giants.
So what's really interesting, so on 8/2, so August 2nd, a little bit more than a month and a half ago, Bryce Harper's odds to win the MVP were plus 8,000. Tatis was minus 145. 8/31, so end of August, it was plus 1,200 for Bryce Harper. Tatis was even heavier favorite at minus 260 today. And all you guys saw that Manny, Tatis, kind of the argument in the bullpen or in the dugout. I apologize. Now Bryce Harper is the favorite, minus 25, and Tatis is even money. What's interesting about that, Cage, and here's my post. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Is Bryce Harper's Topps Update PSA 10 is a $150 card with a 2,400 pop. Tatis is a $150 card. Do you want to guess the pop on that Topps card?
14,000.
Yeah, 15.4.
Wow.
So you could take this any direction you want. You could talk about them as players. You could talk about them as investments. What are you making of all this, Cage? As the season winds down, there's 15 games left. What's going on?
Nobody is really that good. Nobody has separated themselves is really what it comes down to. And in either league, I mean, Ohtani's still a huge favorite, right? But even him, I'm a little surprised that those numbers haven't, Vlad Guerrero's numbers haven't gotten closer. I mean, Vladdy's not going to win the Triple Crown because I don't think he can catch it in RBIs. Although, you never know. Stranger things happen. You can have a huge RBI game, a couple home runs, grand slam, you name it, and be right back in there. But Harper's having a good season. The thing about the card prices, though, is this. Harper has cards, Bowman, what has he got, like a 2010 Bowman base? I mean, he's got cards for over a decade now, and, he's got one of my favorite cards. I don't have any more left. The 2012 Prism Bryce Harper rookie card, not licensed, but one of my favorite cards. And, Tatis is still only a couple years into the game, right? So why people will pay more for Tatis is, they think he's going to win the MVP this year and then multiple more going forward and could be that generational talent. Bryce no longer has that, wow, he's going to be, the greatest player of the generation because he's already, you've already seen what you're going to get out of him. Now, I talked about this a couple days ago. I said Bryce Harper was one of those, steals because he came in so young. He came up, like Griffey. He came up as like a teenager. I have a card that I graded with Beckett over a decade ago when they came out, Strasburg's rookie, Strasburg's Bowman year. Harper was in the USA under 18 set of that, as a young kid, his first Bowman card. And, it's an awesome card. It's a cool card. He's been doing it for a long time, and he came up so young that
still only 28, Cage.
So here's a fun little exercise, right? Because you have Harper cards way, way, way back, right? And you have Harper, Topps cards, Prism cards, you name it. You know what I want you to do for a second? Everybody's like, oh, Aaron Judge, right? Aaron Judge was like, 2017, 2018 rookie. He's only a couple years in the league. Was just rookie of the year recently, right? Look up how old Aaron Judge is for me. Do me that favor. Okay? Let's get a month, day, and year. I didn't know you were going here, otherwise I would have had us more prepared. But
29 years old.
yeah, and how old Bryce Harper?
28.
28. Doesn't that shock people? People think like, oh, Aaron Judge is like he's a prospect, like he's still on basically, he hasn't got a contract yet, a major contract. He was on his rookie deal, and he's in arbitration. The Yankees haven't had to pay him big money yet, and I'm for one hoping that they don't, because I don't think he'd stay healthy, and I don't think he's gonna be worth it. Because if he gets a 5-6 year deal, 7-year deal, he's gonna be playing past his prime already. For some of that contract. Whereas Bryce Harper signed that Mondo mega deal years ago, and he's younger, right? But that's because he's been in the league for so long. Look at his home run totals, right? A guy hits quietly 30 something home runs every year. He's one of those guys who just pull up Bryce's stats, right? We haven't done this, but how many home runs does he have? Because he had that one monstrous year. He already won the MVP. He's already won.
So this year he's at 33 home runs, 140 hits, 313 batting average, 80 RBIs.
Right. So totals.
Total home run in his career?
Yeah.
Give me a second.
And we do this for a reason, guys. If he's 28 years old, right? It's safe to say, let's assume. He doesn't have to be Pujols, right? But when you're chasing records, you'll play for a long time, which is what happens. But let's just say his average season is 35 home runs for the next 10 years. How many home runs does he have? You pull up the stats. I'm saying whatever it is, we're going to add 350 to it, ish, and see where he lands in the all-time home run list. Andrew's good at finding the PER. How many points does he have per 36 minutes? That you can find.
No, I'm looking for the totals. I don't know why I can't find it. Here it is. 265 total home runs. 42 in 2015 for the Nationals was his high.
Yeah, he's one of these guys, he hits a lot, then he doesn't, his odd year, he's like the San Francisco Giants. But, you're talking about a guy who should hit 6 homers. Go ahead.
Last year he had 13, just to give people a little...
Shortened season, it was COVID season. But even that, it's pretty, pretty short. But if you spread that out 2.5, it's still going to be, 30 home runs. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you got a guy who, if he goes on a tear, he could start getting up there in the top home run hitters of all time. Not a lot of people have hit 600 home runs. If he wins the MVP this year, multiple MVPs. Not a lot of people did that. MVPs with different teams. Not a lot of people done that. So it's interesting, man. He rubs a lot of people the wrong way, though, and that's part of the issue with Harper. Even
with his build, with his athleticism, would it surprise you if he did things the right way, which is a huge if? Could he play till 40?
100%, especially if he's chasing records. I got to tell you, I'm actually surprised he doesn't have more home runs than that. I'm very surprised that that's the amount of home runs he has. I thought it would be more than that, just because he's been playing for so long. But I guess it makes sense. You had a year last year that was kind of
the first
off.
3 seasons. Cage was 22, 20, and 13, which kind of crushes average. He's really come on from 2015 to 2021, right? Because he was young. Remember, I think he came in. He was 18 or 19 years old.
Yeah, very young.
So
very young.
A part of that was getting adjusted to the league as well.
Yeah, but I mentioned it the other day. I think he was second in batting average in the National League. I don't think he's batting like 315, 316, something like that. So it's not like he's not going to cover off the ball or anything like that. It's just that the National League doesn't really have anybody really lighting it up this year. Neither does the American League, to be honest. I think Vladdy's leading at like 319 or something like that. So
let me ask you a different question. So their card prices are exactly the same, 150, 158. If we're looking at them as stocks, some people don't like when you look at cards as stocks, some people do. But if we just use this comparison, their market cap is way different, right? You have Tatis's cards are 150, but there's 15,000 of them. Harper's are 150, but there's 2,500 of them. Does that mean that Tatis is more expensive, even though their card values are exactly the same?
No, but it means that you have to have more demand for Tatis to move it as the amount that you need less demand for Harper, because there's less of them out there that you'd have to move the price up. But I think there clearly is more demand for Tatis. And if you talk about stocks, there are growth companies that have higher market cap, even though they haven't delivered as much as the value companies, the blue chip companies out there. And that really is what you're looking at. Tatis has not won an MVP. People can argue he should have won one last year. People are arguing he should win one this year. And people are saying, he's going to do things over his career, kind of like Tesla. Eventually, they will get to outer space, and eventually they will actually make money, with their cars and make enough cars to make money. But people don't seem to care about that now. They're the market cap of Tesla is where it is, not on what they've done, but on what they are going to do, right? And a lot of that with Tatis. There's less of that with Harper, but he can play another decade. Like, you should probably have more of that built in with him. I mean, he's not as young as Tatis, but in the short time that he's been there, he's already won an MVP and won a championship, right? I mean, he won with Philly, right? Who did he win? He left?
He won with Washington.
He won with Washington. He left to Philly, right? He left to go to Philly, right?
He won MVP 2015.
Right. So I guess what I'm asking is, when he left to Philly, when did Washington? He won one series with Washington, and then he wasn't there for the second.
He wasn't there for the championship.
Okay, he wasn't there for the championship. That's what I mean. He wasn't there for a championship. So he didn't win a championship. He just won the MVP. He's cursed. He left and they won. He's cursed. Yeah, you never know.
Is there some truth to that?
I'll never forget, and I'm one of those unwritten rules guys, right? I'll never forget that. He came up and he was this guy who would hit the ball, like a little dink single to the outfield, or, dribbler that gets past one of the infielders off his glove, and he'll just book it out of the box and leg out a double that nobody else in the league would have went for two on. And here he was flipping his helmet off and flipping his hair around and, playing brash and doing this stuff. And people were just beaning him. Like, he would come up the next time and just get beaned. It was like, unwritten rule, baseball baloney. And I remember people who were baseball fans at the time, with this, unwritten rule stuff, were like, Harper, he can't do that. He can't show up everybody. He looks like an a-hole, that kind of stuff. And now it's all about backflips and stupidity. So maybe he was the first one. I don't know. So
you know how it is. Iverson was a little bit like that too, right? Like, Iverson was a player. He kind of created a players' league. The do-rags, dressing how he wants, his personality. And when you're the trendsetter, you get a lot of heat. And the people that come second and third, now that they get the benefit. It's a great point. Let's talk. That's baseball. Anything else on baseball you want to touch on? We can talk about it a little more tomorrow if you want to prepare and do that
with all
stuff.
That, is Bryce Harper not your play? You have to roll that. Bryce is not your play. That would be pretty. It sounds like a pretty good play, especially because we've
elevated our game, Cage. We've elevated our game to the point where in our episodes, I want to bring you guys kind of spotlight opportunities, like I just brought you one there, and let you guys make the decision for the play. And I'll still even bring a better play later on. So it's not just anymore about giving people the play and that's it. I want to bring them the education. Share with them what I'm looking at, things like that. So I think the discussion there was valuable. Tom Brady, here's what I'm looking at. This is, right, I will try to unpack the mentality of professional athletes and greats. This is where I think Tom Brady is right now. I think he's going to go for the MVP this season and set a record of touchdowns in a season. I think he's on a mission like that.
I mean, why not? Right? He's at a point where the records are all his. Might as well try to push him so far out there that nobody else can get him. But
that seems obvious, though, right? But not everyone at the age of 42. Like, Jordan went to the Wizards at 42, not with the intention to win another championship. He went there to play. He had a little bit more, I guess, he physically felt like he could give more. But he didn't go there to win a championship. He didn't go there to set scoring records. He didn't go there for all that. If I'm picking up what Tom Brady's putting down, like, the guy's slinging. The guy's going after his own touchdown record. The guy he's not slowing down one bit, Cage.
I don't know. I mean, I think when he can, he will. But I really do think that the championship is the key. Like, he wants another championship. He wants to continue to win titles. And, if at the end of the season, somebody – I can't picture it, but at the end of the season, it's like, all right, you can play now. You have to throw 5 touchdown passes, but it's going to put you at risk for a championship, the whole deal. You have to have I think he would say the hell with that. I'm not going to do it. I would rather win the championship. Like, that's just I think to him, believe it or not, I think that the team winning, the championship, the rings is more important than the individual accolades.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So I wanted to explain why I specifically am talking about this. So it's obviously both, but you could also know looking at a quarterback's attempts per game, right, is a big thing because that kind of shows you the game plan, right? Are they handing the ball off 50-50? Are they going into the season throwing? He's near the league leaders in throwing the ball. He has 86 attempts. Okay, so only Justin Herbert, and we'll talk about this guy, Derek Carr, higher. I don't know if that's surprising to you, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes has only thrown the ball 67 times.
Well, so I will tell you.
And that's both games being basically blowouts. That's 2 games basically being blowouts. So that to me is interesting. That to me shows a conversation or something that happened in the offseason where they, in my opinion, not that they changed their scheme, but they said we're going to be a throw-heavy offense. Even with 2 pretty good running backs with Fournette and I can't remember the other guy's name. Is it Ronald Jones?
Yeah,
Ronald
and
Jones.
they don't really have good running backs. I mean, that's part of it. But also, week 1, like they were in a slugfest with Dallas. You know what I mean? It was back and forth. Dallas had it at the end. You know, they had to throw the ball. You know, it was a high-scoring one. Week 2, while it looked like a blowout, it really wasn't a blowout till the end when there were, you know, some defensive scores there. I think the same. Did the same guy have 2 pick sixes? Yep. I mean, it was just like an insane kind of thing. But yes, clearly the game plan is Tom Brady's the best. Let him do his thing. It's not let's put the ball in Leonard Fournette's hands and become a running offense. And obviously,
but it's also not protect Brady, right? Like when you drop back to throw, you also are more susceptible to getting hit. There is that.
But I saw a stat on Brady where like he gets the ball out now faster than anybody else does. You know what I mean? And it's not that he has the quickest release. It's just that the offense that they're running is kind of like a, you know, get the ball, throw. Like he's not really, well, he's making a lot of attempts. Sometimes a lot of attempts doesn't equate to also the most yards because he's not throwing the ball down the field. I mean, he is every now and again, but I think his offense has been always just quick, get rid of the ball and protect him that way. So
I think so. So you guys will tell me. Let me just give you guys an example of Drew Brees here and why this to me is a big deal, right? Because typically as quarterbacks age, they have less attempts. Their arm strength goes down. Remember with Peyton Manning, they were saying at the end of his career, he was throwing, do you remember what they called it? Ducks. Do you remember that? Peyton Manning was throwing ducks. He was throwing ducks.
Yeah.
So Drew Brees, for example, if you look at his stats, he was right around 650 attempts a year between 2007 and 2016. He ended his career, and the Saints threw a lot, Cage. With 2018, he had 480 attempts, 2019, 370, and 2020, 390. So usually at the tail end of the career, they know that they're going to be in the playoffs. They need to preserve their arm strength. They tone down the attempts. Tom Brady is the reverse. They're letting him do his thing, and that's a big deal. So I expect my early front runner, and I'll put my head on a stake. Tom Brady's going to win MVP this season. Now, some people might not think that's a huge claim to fame, but I think it's actually a bigger deal than it seems because you're going to start having this conversation of the oldest MVP of all time, and that's a bigger deal than people are making out to be. So you heard it here first. It's only week 2.
But a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago, you thought it was going to be Rodgers.
Okay, one of my strengths is I change my mind.
All right,
seeing what I see.
What if Rodgers goes out there tonight and has 5 touchdowns? You gonna say maybe it's Rodgers again, or maybe no? This is all right. It's all right. Listen, for what you're saying is 100% right. I mean, this was why I thought that the Bucs. I mean, look, not that you can handicap any of football. Yesterday was just insane, just like Week 1 was insane. But you know, the Bucs play was for me. They're a significantly better team than anybody else that's playing right now, and that is all because of Brady. It's all Brady. I mean, it's a quarterback league, and he's the best that's out there. Some people can do it for half, what Lamar Jackson did in the second half yesterday, and what Derrick Henry as a running back did in the second half in overtime yesterday, are just amazing things. But they didn't do it for a whole game. Brady's done it for decades. You know what I mean? And just always at that level, always at that output. Doesn't take a half off, doesn't take a quarter off. He's always doing things where you're like, wow, how did he fit that in that window? And if I'm allowed, right? They're not our sponsor. But I think it's T-Mobile. I love those commercials, man. I think they're the funniest thing in the world.
Where they like blur out bad internet?
Yeah, like the spotty internet. I mean, maybe there's a reason why. Maybe my internet's not that great, so that's part of why I like it. But, you know, there was one where it was Judge and Stanton. And Stanton's like, well, what do I do to get my swing back? And Judge, you know, tells him, just remember about what Little League. Remember when you were in Little League. And it comes out blurry like go to a little league game, and so he shows. So my favorite one is the new one now with Brady and Gronkowski, where he says to him, like ba 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 beep, and Gronk is comes out like, yeah, and I'll come to Tampa Bay and I'll play with you, and they have Brady announcing, I'm gonna go and win a championship with Tampa Bay, and Gronk's coming, and you got Gronkowski like yelling to his mom for his pants, Mom, where's my football pants? It's like, Mom, the meatloaf. Anyway, it's funny stuff. It's great that they're able to kind of have fun with it. Brady, it's amazing because at this stage you could kind of hate him. Like I'm a Raider fan. I hate him. I think he took a couple of championships away from us with that stupid tuck rule and a bunch of other stuff that the good Raiders at the beginning of his career probably should have won some Super Bowls and they didn't. And you could hate him, but he's becoming more likable, which is weird for me, right? He does that Subway commercial where it's bread and he's like, and they're like, you don't eat any bread. Like it's funny. It's self-deprecating. It's funny humor. He's like smelling the bread like it's a cologne commercial. And then you got this one with Gronk. So listen, he's likable. He's a winner. It's amazing. The next generation coming up will, like, I was Montana. These guys are Brady. The next generation will say Mahomes is better, and Mahomes is going to chase all of his records and whatnot. But I think the point you're trying to make is that Brady's not going away, not making it easier. He sees that Mahomes can win multiple MVPs. He sees Mahomes can win championships. And maybe if it wasn't Mahomes playing that, maybe he would have retired 2 years ago and said, all right, I'm the best ever. But instead, he's like, you know what? I got to add a ring. I got to add an MVP because otherwise this kid might chase me down.
That's what it is. I think he's still chasing those accolades, those personal and team ones. It's not one or the other. And what's interesting about Brady, and guys, I don't know how it's actually going to impact his cards because the run up on his cards has been insane. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But yeah, it's he spans 2 generations, and I'm not sure there's been another athlete who does that, right? Like, I mean, maybe Jordan. Maybe Jordan, but I don't know if there's another generation that, like, another athlete that spanned basically 2 generations. People growing up, your generation knows him really well, and like you said, he stole. I have my basement's full of Drew Bledsoe cards. What would have happened if I invested in Brady? There's that, and he's tuck rule. There's that, but there's kids now. I mean, that are 8, 9 years old that still are going to have Brady and Mahomes are going to be their hero. So it's really, really interesting. It's fun to watch. I don't understand the Brady hate at all. I've never understood it. But I guess when you're that good at something, you're hated on. So that's that. Those were my 2 topics today. Was Bryce Harper to tease how you make the MVP race? How does that affect cards?
So I like it because you announced our show was about cards and how on-field performance impacts those sports cards. And I was going to correct you at the time and say our show was more than that. But you've done a good job of now baseball and football talking about that. We do a lot on cards, right? It's not just about performing vintage baseball cards, vintage cards. They're not about on-field performance. And sometimes we bring cool non-sports plays and, Marvel and stuff like that. And if I'm allowed, you talked about, multi-generational. I'm going to roll right into my play with that because in addition to, us doing stuff here that nobody else does. I mean, there are great sports card content out there. There's great people in what we do. Nobody shows up every day and does what we're doing, right? But what I love about it is when we do a deep dive. When you pull out Bryce Harper, no one's thinking about Bryce Harper right now, Or how about this one? Multi-generational. What do you think the best show HBO's ever had was?
Sopranos.
I mean, and do you know that the Sopranos movie is coming out now? And it is not, the old one. It's like, it's actually James Gandolfini's son. And it's like a Tony Soprano origin story. It's his real life son. They cast him because he looks like him. And it's supposed to be kind of like a prequel, like Tony Soprano growing up now. And I think it comes out this month. So I thought to myself, I go, let's give Luca Nation listeners a wild play, something that nobody else is on, right? It's easy to buy Marvel stuff when the Loki show is coming out.
Real quick. So the show or the movie, I apologize, is the Many Saints of Newark is what
Many
it's called.
Saints of Newark. And when's it coming out? Like I think it's HBO
October
Max.
1.
So October 1st, right? So here you go, guys. A 2-week lead up, October 1st. And I think it's on HBO Max. Like you can watch the movie. But you know what'll happen? If it's got any success to it, right? They'll do another show. Maybe they'll build on this character. If the kid can act, you name it. Maybe they'll do a young Tony Soprano. Maybe they'll do a spinoff like they did with, Game of Thrones, a new show. But what's amazing is for a last generation, 20 years ago, like The Sopranos was huge. That was a huge, huge show, right? And there are cycles in things, and with cycles they come back. Like Pokemon came back, and like Marvel is doing its thing, and like like sports cards have come back, right? And people are back into comic books, and people are back into fun stuff. So yeah, if you want to spend money, there is that signature right there. But
Leaf makes some nice cards. By the way, it's Brian Gray's birthday today, so I don't actually know him personally. I saw him on Twitter. Just going to give him a shout out. Happy birthday, Brian! If you listen to the show, big fan of the design you guys do with your Leaf cards.
So I disappeared for a second so that I can just make it easy and send you something, and this will be my play. So you can pull it up from your. From.
But I can't open our text messages, Cage. I can't do it.
Oh well, you can see the.
People are going to see all the.
2005. You could put in 2005. Well, when you can see me, 2005. Inkworks Sopranos. Type that in for you. Okay. So you put in on eBay, but 2005 Inkworks. So guys, there are some cool ways of playing this. Obviously, who knows if this is there you go. So who knows if this is going to work? But there is. Look at that. How much is this? I mean,
99 cents. I'm $9.99. I apologize.
$9.99, right? It's a whole 72 card Sopranos set. Look at this, a foil set, you name it, a little pack. It came in packs. Maybe there's some. Maybe you'll find the sealed box of this if you want somewhere. If you want to make that your play, right? That same set, the 2005 Inkworks set, they have autographs. So for you Entourage fans there, for less than $100, I think there were some for 30, 40. You get a Meadow Soprano. Oh, that was your favorite, Turtle's favorite, definitely for you Entourage fans like you, Andrew. But yeah, I mean, listen, I have a feeling not many people know that this is coming back. And when it does, people will pay attention to it. It's an odd one because it's in the theaters, but with COVID, a lot of people aren't going to theaters, so it's on HBO Max. Look at that, it was at Ada Tatura. You got a whole bunch of different $2 for the autographs here. Some of them are graded, which is pretty fun, right? Look at that, you got a PSA 10 Tony Soprano, right? I mean, look
newly
at that.
Graded
cool,
too,
right?
Cage.
But there's a play. What's up?
Newly graded as well.
Look at that. Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't me, guys. I don't own any of these, but if I wasn't doing a show and I was in my bargain days where I was looking for things that might actually pop and become something, there you go, Jamie Sigler, $89, Soprano autograph. Right, that's it. So this is one of those things where with this coming out, I'd buy that. I'd buy that $7.99 set. I'd buy as many of these, main characters. Don't go nuts. I mean, the priest has an autograph for like $12. I mean, there's ancillary characters, but main characters, I'd buy them. People who might be in the show, Tony Soprano stuff especially, and you get Tony Soprano cards for a couple of bucks. I'd buy them, and just replace them. There's promo cards. You buy them and probably, you can buy up the bottom of them, the floor, as we like to say, buy $3, $4, $5 cards, sell them for $9, $10, $12 when this thing is released. You want to hang on to a couple of them and grade them? Sure, great. It's just another play on, like buying Loki before the Loki show came out, or buying Winter Soldier, comic books before that is released, or Shang-Chi, or whatever it may be. The Sopranos was a huge phenomenon. Look, I ask you, what's HBO's biggest show? And you say Sopranos right off the bat. So, it's one of those things where, you can make some quick money now just when it comes out, just flip it. Or, if I'm right, and this movie is successful and it turns into another continued HBO property, people are like, oh man, remember the Sopranos? This is great. They should reboot it. Now you're buying a set for $10. So, it's a fun play. It's a little weird one you're not going to get anywhere else.
Guys, I'm starting a GoFundMe to buy a portable charger for Mr. Cage Lawyer so that he could have his phone charged.
My phone's charged.
Your phone's
63% right now.
Your phone's it's acting like it's on 2%.
I don't know. I think it's your end.
No way.
You're
Impossible.
blurry again. Like you were a couple of days ago.
No way. Impossible. I got fiber optic installed here. We have 2.4 G and we have 5G here. It's booming. It's flying. So my play today is a fastball right down the middle. No, I'm not. You're frozen. Mine's a fastball right down the middle. So heading into NBA season, the two teams that people are talking about are the Lakers and the Nets. Lakers, Nets. Lakers made all their moves. They added Westbrook, Melo. AD is going to be healthy once he gets out of that wheelchair. Mazel tov. Can't wait to see you get healthy again. Anthony Davis and LeBron. He's 45 and he's better than Tom Brady will ever be. Yeah. I've heard it all. Amazing. So Lakers are going to win the championship. Who are they going to meet? They're going to meet the Brooklyn Nets. Durant, Harden. They got Paul Millsap. They got Blake Griffin. They got Kyrie. This team is stacked top to bottom, the best 12-man roster in the league. Nets, Lakers. Amazing. Okay, it's already done. Why do we play the season? Well, we play the season because what we've learned is you could add Karl Malone and Gary Payton to the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. The chemistry is more important than adding these perceived legends to the game, right? Because when they're signing these veteran contracts, they're typically not in their prime. And how are they going to fit? How are they going to mesh? They still have egos. They still want the ball. They play a certain way, and will that fit? So we have to remember these are all team games. This all being said, there's a guy who's not being even talked about in the offseason who's, in my opinion, the best player in the league. And it's Giannis. It's Giannis. And people could say whatever they want to say about it, but the fact remains he won a championship with a decent roster, nowhere near the roster that the Nets did. He's the best player on defense in the league, in my opinion. And he's someone that is unstoppable in today's NBA, and he's only getting better. Now, what's interesting about everything I just said, it probably had a visceral reaction in 50% of our audience. And to me, that's your opportunity, because if you can't see what's right in front of you, chances are many people in investing don't see it either. Giannis's Prism Base PSA 10 card right now is selling for $2,000. When they won the championship, it was $3,000. What? Why?
Because nobody's talking about basketball right now. You want to know one that's even worse? Look at Joker. Remember how everybody was going crazy on Joker's cards, right? When he won the MVP, this guy's the best. He's different. He's not a center. He's a point guard. His cards are down like 50% from where they were. He hasn't played a game. He hasn't fell off a cliff, just his card prices have. I don't want to take you off Giannis. No. I like what you're saying about Giannis. I think Giannis, he just won a championship. But the reason why the 50% out there are saying what they're saying is because the stars aligned for that championship for him. Now, I'm not a buyer in the Lakers or the Brooklyn this year, right? If you would have told me, hey, Miami Heat and Tyler Hero are going to win, okay, fine, then I would buy it. But you went Giannis. I think Giannis may never get a better opportunity to win a title. I'm glad he took advantage of it, but he didn't. Giannis
is going to end his career with 3 or more championships.
All right. Well, he's still pretty young, so I could see that happening.
And to me, what you just said,
you think he gets number 2 this year? Yeah,
I think he might rip off 6, 7 straight, and I think people are blind to it.
Championships?
Yeah, I think people are so blind to what's in front of them.
What chemistry was there? You think it's him and Middleton chemistry? What you talk about how it's team chemistry. So I get it with like the Lakers. It doesn't work all the time when you just throw talented individuals into a mix. I get that, but what's the chemistry that works on the Bucks? Is it really just him and Middleton?
Well, chemistry isn't players. Chemistry is the team.
Yeah. So do you think the Bucks had great chemistry? Durant and a bunch of stiffs took them 7.
Durant and a bunch of stiffs. I don't know if Harden and Kyrie are stiffs.
Harden was injured. Kyrie wasn't playing.
No, Kyrie was there until Game 3.
And they went to Game 7 with no Kyrie and an injured, hobbled Harden. The rest of the team was who? Who the hell was playing with them? I don't even remember. Who else? What was the starting lineup? Who did they have? Was Dinwiddie out there with them? I don't even remember.
No, Dinwiddie didn't play. So I think what's cool about this is people could see the same thing. The same thing could happen, and people see it from 2 different sides. To me, that fact that they were able to – their first championship is really difficult because you've never won, right? Yep. It's uncharted territory. You're young. You don't believe maybe that you can win. There's a lot that comes with winning that first championship. We could use Michael Jordan as an example.
Yep.
Michael Jordan was the best player in the league in 1998 and 88, 87, 89, but he couldn't get over that hump, right? He needed something to get over those – the Detroit Pistons, right?
I remember as a kid, by the way, where people that was a knock on him. I remember being, I want to be Jordan. And then the bigger kid would be like, Jordan, he's not Magic. he can't win. He might be great,
Thank
but
you.
he can't win. I remember kids saying this on my block when we were playing basketball about Jordan. So yeah, you're right.
It happens over and over again, and it's funny. Like I kind of split the generation. I love watching Jordan highlights, but I've also watched modern NBA since basically 2003. I've watched just NBA. I was never a big fan of watching soccer. But my point to all of that is, oftentimes to dethrone the king, it doesn't happen till it's so obvious. Like to me, it's obvious that this is Giannis's league. It's not Luka's league. It's not Jokic's league. I know the media and ESPN could talk about these guys all the time, but to me, Giannis is above them. He's a more impactful player, specifically on defense. But he still has tremendous upside, and he knows how to win. Right? I always reference back to Tim Grover and the whole cooler, cleaner closer thing. I do that because what the F do I know about sports? I never made it pro. My cap was college. So I want to learn from people who've trained the best, who've been with the best, who know what it takes to win. And putting individual stats in place is great. Durant is an incredible player. Kyrie, Harden, all those guys. But there's something about knowing how to win. And to me, it was obvious the last 3 years that Giannis is someone that understands winning, who understands how to get better, who has a ton of raw natural talent. And he has the mindset that's going to constantly get better year over year over year over year. And you're getting him at a discount heading into the season where, again, somehow nobody expects the world champions to win. They expect, like you said, all the stars have aligned for Giannis to win last year. And now there's the Lakers and Nets, and we're back to the same narrative. I'm sticking with the narrative that they're the best team and he's the best player.
But I don't think they are the best team when healthy. I mean, I know they won the championship, but I don't think they are the best team. And I mean, and really, if you go back to that series,
people said that about the Bulls until they won 6 in a row. They're like, oh, I know they have Jordan, but Pippen, did people crown them the best team? Not until they did it year over year.
That team showed a willingness to spend money. They showed a willingness to build. It was a place where people wanted to go. You know, if you just go back a little bit.
That's not true. That's not true. On Jordan's draft day, he said, I want to make the Bulls the same type of organization as the Lakers, the Sixers. He compared them. Remember
what he did?
Sixers.
But Giannis has been here long enough now, and still no one wants to go to Milwaukee. When Jordan was there, people wanted to go and play for him, and that's how they were. Play with him, exactly. But that's the deal, right? So no one wants to play with Giannis, and Milwaukee. Like, here's the problem I have with it. And you could very well be right. And I think Giannis is underappreciated for what he does, the defense especially, and he works on his game. But the issue I have with it before I go all in on Giannis is, during that Nets Bucks series, right? Before the injuries, you name it, everyone's like, okay, the Nets are going to win. And they didn't. And I don't take anything away from them. The Bucks are the world champs. Giannis won a championship. That'll never be taken away. It puts him in a different stratosphere, such that his cards shouldn't be coming down the way they are, and I'm not arguing with you about that at all. But here's the thing. You could find headlines, and headlines don't mean shit. You could write any headline in the world, but you can find headlines that time where saying it's unfortunate that Giannis is going to get taken out of the playoffs now and that he's going to stay in Milwaukee and he's never going to win there. Something has to happen. He has to leave the Bucks. He has to team up with somebody. There were headlines about him and Luka teaming up, you name it, the whole deal. That's the only way. But instead what happens is Kyrie gets hurt. Harden was already hurt. Now you have Durant and nobody, no teamwork, no nothing there. They have no plays, no nothing ready for that because they've now played a whole season expecting to have Kyrie, Harden, and Durant together. They rarely were. And then the Bucks skate by. And do they have to play the Lakers? Do they have to play the Clippers? No. The Lakers don't make it because of injuries and all kinds of baloney. The Clippers don't make it. Kawhi, the monster, is not there because he's injured. Instead, he has to play who? The Suns? I mean, so to me,
play the team in front of you, bro.
You're right. And you can't. There's nothing the Bucks could do about that. You play the team that's in front of you 100% right. I guess what I'm saying is, coming into this year, I think it's a stretch to say that the Bucks are the best team in basketball right now. I
think it's a stretch to say that they're not the best.
Okay, just because they won the championship last year doesn't mean they're the best team. Trent Dilfer and the Ravens won a championship one year also. It doesn't mean they came into the next year as the favorites to win the Super Bowl again.
You do know football is drastically different than NBA. You lose half of your team in free agency.
It's the most obvious example in my brain because it was Trent Dilfer who won a Super Bowl. That's the reason why I said it. I can't really come up with one for basketball.
So this is a longer-winded play, and there's a reason. I think that what you just presented there is not a knock on Giannis. I think that's where the opportunity is, because people still discredit the championship is why his prices haven't been priced in.
Yep.
By the time they're priced in, everyone knows, oh, it's like, okay, he's won 3 now. Now we get it. Now that Suns one isn't okay. That was number 1.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wins 3. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all, especially because the 2 teams everybody's talking about beating him, I don't think both of those teams make it. I mean, you saw last year that these teams don't make it. I mean, there are injuries, there are things that happen, and things go awry. And even if they do, even if they make it, even if they keep Giannis from winning this year, those teams are not going to be that team, those teams the following year, and Giannis will be. And I think Giannis, believe it or not, is still getting better. So I don't have an issue with the 2 or 3. Repeating, very hard. Even in the NBA, it's very hard.
Very hard.
So it's tough.
And the other thing, he needs to team up with Luka. I wonder if now, you know how like sponsors didn't want to sponsor our show until the first sponsor sponsored, and then everyone came running, right? Because no one wants to be the first. What if this championship is that same thing? It's like, okay, well, we didn't think Giannis could win without people. Now I want to go there and win. So maybe now they do attract free agents. Maybe they do attract trades that they might not have 12 months ago. And I mean, think about this also. Like you said all those things, but let's flip it for a second. There was a time, Tim Grover talks about this, where players didn't say that they want to go team up with someone to win a championship. They said, you could come team up with me where I'm at to win a championship. And that's what a true alpha is. Is there any right now I'm still hearing that Durant is a better player than Giannis. Why? Because he went to the Warriors and won a championship? Then he went to the Nets and recruited Kyrie and Harden? Like, because he could score at will? What has this dude ever won that deserves to get the praise that someone like Giannis does? So to me, it makes no sense. I've been a Giannis guy forever.
I like it, man. Normally you get heat because you hate on LeBron. Now you're hating on KD. So the heat's going to come for you, and I like it.
Dude, I'm an old school guy. I'm like, win where you are. Don't leave to go play with the best to win a championship. How freaking lame is that?
That was always the knock that I had when we were talking about LeBron and Jordan. Now, I'm not an idiot. LeBron is a great player. He's one of the best ever. But, yeah, I mean, if you look at his championships, I mean, he went and teamed up. He always had somebody else to
took the easy way out.
So
that's not an opinion. That's a fact. He took the easy way out. He went and teamed up with a winner in Dwayne Wade. He said, I can't do it alone. I need Wade. I don't know. To me, Durant said the same thing. Durant's even worse. Durant had Harden, Westbrook, and Ibaka. He's like, I can't win with these guys. I need to go win with Curry, Dre, and Clay. Okay. So anyway, that's my play. Let's get into the announcements. Guys, so we heard you loud and clear. We're moving forward with the NFT launch because it's going to be epic. A lot of you guys have reached out and are going to support us. All you need to do is have ETH in your MetaMask wallet on Wednesday. I don't know where the price of Ethereum is going to go, but you're basically getting it 25% cheaper than it was a few days ago.
It's down. You get a bargain now. It's a bargain. We couldn't have timed this better. Get your money in the MetaMask now.
but this is where things are exciting, and this goes along with my vision of what we want to be. So we've always wanted to be educators in the space, thought leaders in the space, people that have conversations with very intelligent people and produce it, publish it so that you guys in the audience benefit. We're going to launch, I'm calling it an NFT digital publication. So it's going to be its own standalone thing. It has no real other than like the parent company interaction with Lucas Tigers, the hobby. So it's going to be an NFT and crypto digital publication where we'll have a newsletter. We're going to put out content. We're going to educate the space. We're going to talk about top 10 NFT projects going on. We're going to interview creatives and artists from that space. We're going to keep that as its own silo so that if you're interested in NFTs, great. You go there, you read, you could sign up for the newsletter, and you could get all NFT crypto stuff there. And our show, our Instagram page, that's going to be dedicated to the hobby and sports cards. So it's still going to be all us, brought to you by us, by Cage and myself and our amazing team that's supported us and joining us and all that stuff. And if you want to be a part of that, if you're a designer or a copywriter and you want to create content for the NFT or crypto space, that's launching, and it's going to launch as soon as this week. And you want to be a part of that, reach out. I think it's going to be fun.
So for those of you who don't like that stuff, it means stay tuned because it's going to be all hobby all the time on this channel. same bat channel. Yeah. So I mean, listen, we want to mix the two worlds. We really do, and I love the feedback we're getting from all over Luca Nation. Hey, I'm a farmer, but for you guys, I'll get some Ethereum and show me how to do it. I mean, it's just great messages like that. I love it. There will more likely be more first-time NFT buyers in our Tigers, possibly than any other NFT out there, which is a really cool thing. Because, while we think there's an overlap in the space, and it's just a different way of flipping the coin here, right? It really is. It's a different way of opening packs. It's a different way of investing. It's a different way of doing basically what we do with cards. Not everyone loves it, but for those of you who are interested in it, we can offer you an educational way of doing it, and we can separate the two. That way, if you tune in and you're like, all right, I want to hear the guys talk about sports cards, you're going to hear us talk about sports cards here. So
I love what you said there. We believe that there's an overlap, but we want that overlap to be on your terms and not on ours. And when we create NFT content on a page where you guys expect a sports card, I understand how frustrating that might be. So we hear that feedback loud and clear. We really only are a few weeks into this. So we heard that feedback. We thought, what's the right move? And we're really excited about this. So we're going to have a digital NFT publication. You guys will be able to sign up for a newsletter where we put together awesome content on a weekly basis.
I don't want to give them the wrong impression. We never got anybody coming in and saying, stop doing NFTs. We didn't get a single person doing that at all. Right. But we did get a lot of people coming in and saying, we want more NFT content. We want more content on NFTs. So I want to make sure we're not giving the wrong impression that it was like, wow, we got this amazing, horrible feedback. Like, stop talking about NFTs or we're going to stop listening. Not a single person did that. But on the flip side, there were people asking for more NFT content. And we did not want to encroach on what we already do with the sports stuff. So we want to give you the sports stuff, but we also want to respond to the people who are looking for more NFT stuff
1,000%.
And put it in its own spot. I don't want to make it sound like, wow, where people were mad and, because the listener numbers are as high as they've ever been, I mean,
they really are. People like certainty, though. They like to know when they're going. This was people's always biggest issue with restaurants, right? I go in and one time the chef makes the sandwich this way and then he makes it this way, right? And there's no consistency and people don't like that. So when they turn into Lucas Tigers Bronze podcast, they love us and they want to talk about sports cards. They would love to hear us talk about NFTs, but they want to be the ones deciding, not us. And we respect that. So I thank you for saying that, Cage. Any final words?
No, man, we're like, 36 hours or so away, 40 hours away from the drop. So there you go. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting.
Drop is day 1, not day 100. Things start when the drop happens. We have a huge roadmap that, sure, we put some things together on the website, but the roadmap is way bigger than that. And we want to continue to grow and become thought leaders in what we think is the alternate investing space. Love you, Luca Nation. Any final words, big guy? No,
man, we're doing good. We're having some fun. This was good. Bryce Harper, Tom Brady, Giannis. You went all over the place, man. You did some baseball, you did some football, some basketball. You really, and you do every major sport. And I give a play from the Sopranos. Where else he getting?
Did you see Halan's goal?
That was pretty nice. He's got like 112 goals in 12 games. He's amazing.
Incredible. He's very Zlatan-esque in his game. Which, guys, by the way, LAFC Gunnar is someone we're going to have on the show. We're scheduling with him. He runs one of the best soccer pages out there. Something I do want to start doing more is talking soccer and sharing a little bit of my soccer knowledge. I
can't wait. I can't wait, man. There's no bigger Barca fan out there than me, so I can't wait to be involved in this.
Did you see that? So awesome. It's really interesting times, Cage. Sorry to ramble on here. Messi hasn't scored a single goal for PSG, and then Pochettino took him off in the 75th minute, and he was not happy. While Cristiano Ronaldo now is back in what people think is the world's best league, the EPL, and he's scoring goals. It's so funny how the narrative changes. It's so funny. Like now he's like, people are commenting like, wow, this is so embarrassing that he was pouting, when you get subbed off. It's so mature that he would be pouting. Doesn't he know kids are watching? This goes to show that Ronaldo is the true GOAT. And it's funny how quickly people forget and change their opinion with little things like that.
You know what's fun about soccer is everybody's looking for the next one, and you have to be careful when you look for the next one because we're spoiled. We're spoiled with the Bradys in football. There's always going to be the next one. We're spoiled that we got to watch Messi and Ronaldo, right? Everybody thought James was going to be the next one. Everybody thought
Jaime Rodriguez.
Everybody thought, I call him James. Everybody thought Suarez was going to bite his way to being the GOAT, right? Everybody thought, all these guys were going to be, Mo Salah was going to be the next great, right? But they don't. They're not going to be Messi. And they're not going to be Ronaldo. It shows you how good these guys are. And, but you're all in on the Haaland train.
It's not all in on the Haaland train.
It's going to be hard.
I never said Haaland's going to be as good as Messi.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
I didn't say that.
No, but even if they're not as good, they're always going to be measured against those guys. It's why it's tough. It's why, Mahomes coming up in the shadow of Brady. That's tough, man. That's tough. He's got to go above and beyond what Brady did to ever be out of his shadow. Think what Brady had to do to potentially now be out of Joe Montana's shadow. They basically had to double him up in every stat category. You know what I mean?
But my play on Haaland was different though. Like he's going to go to Real Madrid. He's going to go to Man City. He's going to go to Man U. He's going to go to Liverpool. He's going to go to Barca. That's really where the big payday is because people know. Dude, Borussia Dortmund is literally a player factory. They find these guys for like $5 and sell them for $500 million. They're incredible. So no one stays at Borussia. And I think when he is sold or in the run up to him being sold, there is some money to be made there, Cage. Yeah, accomplishment-wise, that's tough.
It's going to be tough. And most people don't like soccer cards. I'm just going to throw that one out there. I think
Andrew, shut up and stop talking soccer.
I think what you need to do is come up with a digital publication for soccer cards because the 95% of Luca Nation that is here to talk about sports cards is not here to talk about the soccer cards. But it is what it is. Let's bring a guest on and talk footy. Let's cut it up about what Barca is doing this season.
You're an idiot. See you guys tomorrow. This is a fun episode. I hope you guys enjoyed us. Let us know in the comments what you thought. And I've been seeing other YouTubers say this, so I'm going to say this. Smash that like button.
We don't have a like button. Oh, yeah, on YouTube, I guess we have a like button.
We don't have a like button.
There's no like button here. There's no like button. Yeah, there is. There's a smash the like button.
Yeah, they say that.
People say this. Smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe and smash the like button. Mm-hmm. But it's very violent.
It kind of is, but it helps with the YouTube algorithm, is what I've learned. And it helps us get more views, get more listens. So thank you. If you guys do that, if you have the time, it means a lot to us.
Smash away, guys. Smash. Smashy, smash, smash.